The movie opens with a group of people gathered at City Hall, including Governor Sandro Correa. He is under suspicion for misusing state funds intended for hospital equipment for personal gain. A few days earlier, members of the Special Armed Division raided his luxurious home, arresting him. Detectives Miguel and Edu led the operation. In the interrogation room, evidence of the governor's financial misconduct was presented. In a tense exchange recorded for evidence, the governor threatened retaliation against anyone exposing him and attempted to bribe prosecutors. Despite corruption suspicions, the governor's lawyer negotiated his release to home confinement pending trial, citing family concerns and legal maneuvering. Governor Correa, anticipating threats due to the scandal, prepared his personal security team. Meanwhile, Miguel, returning home, found his daughter asleep on the couch. He gently moved her to bed, receiving a brief affirmation of pride from her. The next day, plans to take his daughter to a soccer game were interrupted by her departure with his ex-wife. At work, Miguel's team was disbanded as the case shifted to the military police. Miguel had dedicated months to the case, and he was deeply enraged by his boss's decision. Despite his frustration, he rushed to keep his promise to take his daughter to the soccer game, meeting her and his ex-wife, who waited patiently. Despite being a bit late, his daughter was thrilled to be with him, and they hurried to the stadium in Brazil jerseys, snapping a quick group photo. Tragically, en route to the game, an unexpected shooting occurred, injuring Miguel's daughter. Shocked, Miguel rushed her to the hospital for urgent care. At the hospital, the overwhelmed staff struggled with inadequate resources and facilities. Miguel anxiously roamed the crowded corridors, witnessing others in similar distress. His daughter, in critical need of timely treatment and blood, faced delays due to the hospital's limitations. Despite Miguel's desperate hopes, she tragically passed away. Upon hearing the news, Miguel's ex-wife arrived in disbelief. Edu, deeply sympathetic, wished to help find the shooter, but the densely built surroundings offered no leads. Miguel was devastated by both the loss of his daughter and the hospital's insufficient capabilities, believing better resources could have saved her. He felt strongly that no one should endure neglect when swift intervention could prevent such tragedies. Amid his grief, he learned that Governor Correa had been cleared of wrongdoing in the corruption scandal, adding to his sense of injustice. Correa's announcement of his presidential bid, coupled with promises to improve healthcare funding, incensed Miguel. Seeing through the deception, Miguel joined protesters at City Hall, leading to a clash with police. Masked and captured on video, Miguel confronted Correa's bodyguards until he faced the governor himself, taking decisive action against the man indirectly responsible for his daughter's death. The dramatic confrontation reverberated. The following day, Gomes, despite skepticism about his son's suitability, rallied support for his presidential candidacy. Threatening exposure of corrupt activities to Minister Regina, Gomes secured backing. Miguel, resolved to move forward from his grief, returned to work with Edu, investigating protest-related chaos and making arrests. Recognizing a protester, Miguel discreetly engaged her to protect her identity, discovering her skills as a programmer. Aware of Miguel's role in the protests, disclosed video evidence implicating corrupt officials in medical funds theft. Collaborating, they uncovered incriminating data on Gomes and his allies. Disguised behind a mask, Miguel pursued justice, sparking public discussion. As Na pondered Miguel's actions, she wondered if he might be seen as a hero for holding accountable those responsible for his daughter's tragic fate. Later, Miguel visited Na at her workplace, seeking her help to uncover the financiers behind Correa's and other corrupt politicians' campaigns. Initially hesitant, Na agreed after Miguel promised to assist in reducing the prison sentence of her wrongly convicted mother. Visiting her mom, Na discussed the nature of truth, realizing its subjectivity. Na used her hacking skills to access a surveillance system where Gomes was to meet Minister Regina. Meanwhile, Miguel feigned collaboration with Edu, who was pursuing a serial killer nicknamed the Awakener, targeting corrupt officials. Concerned for Edu's safety, Miguel suggested he take a break, only to discover Edu's suspicion that the Awakener's next target was Minister Regina. Unable to reach Miguel, Edu confronted the Awakener, who turned out to be Miguel himself. In a struggle, Miguel was wounded but chose to abandon his mission against Regina. Nursed by Nina, Miguel and Edu later presented their evidence implicating Minister Regina and Gomes in corrupt activities. Despite their findings, higher authorities shut down their investigation, hinting at bribery. Infuriated by the obstruction, Miguel resolved to confront Gomes directly. Meanwhile, at Gomes' residence, he hosted a dinner with influential officials, including his uneasy son, who confided in his mother about his doubts regarding his readiness for the presidency. Despite Gomes' attempt to reassure him, Miguel, driven by his mission, shot and killed Gomes' son, intending to coerce Gomes into confessing his crimes. However, Gomes capitalized on his son's death to garner sympathy, nominating himself as the new presidential candidate. Meanwhile, Sarah, Gomes' lawyer, investigated the deaths of their colleagues, suspecting the Awakener had an accomplice. mistakenly targeting Nina's boss as the partner. She was shocked to find him dead. Terrified, Na fled to Miguel's hideout, unaware she was followed by Sarah's men. In the ensuing chaos, Sarah took Na hostage, forcing Miguel to agree to assassinate another presidential candidate, Julia Mikado, to save Na's life. Police responding to gunshots reported by neighbors raided Miguel's hideout, coincidentally the same location Edu and his team were investigating as the Awakener's hideout. Edu discovered Miguel's involvement when he found Miguel's phone. Realizing Miguel was targeting Julia at a presidential debate, both Miguel and Edu confronted each other, leading to a tense fight where Edu pleaded for Miguel to stop, warning him against becoming what he despised. Meanwhile, Na sees an opportunity to attack Sarah, seriously injuring her. Miguel was subsequently arrested for the murders of corrupt officials. In prison, watching Gomes gain public sympathy, Miguel faced an attempt on his life by Deputy Das, one of his superiors, whom he ultimately subdued. In a daring move, Miguel escaped from prison, armed himself, and headed straight to the Parliament building where Gomes and his allies were celebrating their political victory. With swift and calculated precision, Miguel eliminated Gomes's men and colleagues. Confronting Gomes himself, who rationalized corruption as an inherent human flaw, Miguel took decisive action, ending Gomes's life. Surrounded by Gomes's henchmen, Miguel triggered a bomb he had planted, causing a catastrophic explosion that obliterated the building with him inside. The following day, forensic experts found only the Awakener's mask at the crime scene, with no trace of Miguel's body. The movie concludes with a mysterious shot of the Awakener preparing to take aim from a rooftop, leaving viewers to speculate whether this figure is Miguel, who somehow survived, or another individual continuing the mission against corruption. The film's moral reflects that karma can be a dramatic force, especially for corrupt politicians who underestimate its consequences. Make sure to subscribe for more recaps like this.